Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to run a Monte Carlo simulation with intraday data on this Shiny app, and this will all be written in R code. So to start, we have a menu here on the left. We need to select a trading day, a ticker symbol, the number of simulations to run, and we also have two options. One is to run the simulation from the latest bar, so you can run this during the trading session, or from a historical point. So since I'm running this on the weekend, I'm going to pick a historical point. So we're going to click on custom start bar and then run simulation. I'm going to choose a bar to start the simulation on, and these will all be in New York time. So we'll click 9:30, run the simulation, and now we can see the projection using 10,000 simulations. And the chart is interactive, so you can hover over it to get more details. So we do have a 90% band, a 50% band, and then a medium path. And it's quite remarkable that, at least for this trading session, it stayed within the 90% band. And you can also select or deselect the bands by clicking on the labels here at the bottom. And if you're working with the same ticker symbol, we can change the bar or the start time to something different. And we'll go ahead and increase the number of simulations to 100,000. I'm going to click on run simulation. And we do see that it did start at 10 a.m. So that's pretty much what you'll be able to do with this app. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the R code. So first we need to go ahead and require these packages and set our working directory. Now we do have two parts. One is for the user interface, and the second is for the server. And for the user interface, as you saw, we have a couple of selections. So we have the header or title, we have a date input to select the trading day, another input for the ticker symbol, a numeric input for the number of simulations, another selection of when to start the simulation, whether it be at the latest bar or historical point, and lastly our button to run the simulation. Now the server contains all the calculations depending on the input, so that will be divided in a couple parts here. And so we do have some reactive values on the data, the number of simulations, or the start time, where it will recalculate if any of these things change. Now we do have a custom start user interface. So this part will be if the user selects a historical point to run the simulations, where we're going to grab our 15-minute bars, return them in the right format, and create that drop-down menu containing the timestamps for them. Now the next part you can alter, but for this app I'm using the Trader API, and that's to fetch the intraday data. So we're going to pass in the ticker and the selected date. And it's pretty simple. We're just going to source all of our functions from the Trader API, request historical data using 15-minute candles, do a bit of formatting on the index to make sure we're using New York time, and we're going to split the data up. One is for the selected date, the other will be for historical. So I believe the Trader API returns about 10 days of intraday data. If you're using 1 minute, you can go a little bit further if you're using 15. Now the purpose of splitting the data is that the full data set will get passed into our Monte Carlo simulation so that we have more data to work with. So that will be all history. And for the today data frame, that will just contain the current day that you selected. And that's just to create the plot. So that'll get returned as a list. And we're going to use that data and pass that into our next function, which will actually run the Monte Carlo simulation. So if we open this up here, this will all just be calculation. We're going to run through a series of checks to make sure that we have enough data to work with. We need to annualize our average and our standard deviation. So everything here is just hard-coded for the 15-minute bars. So we're going to run through the simulations, and this will just get returned as a list containing the paths, the time, the current price, the start and close time, and whether or not the market is closed. Next we have observe event. So if we scroll down here, here's where we kind of use the prior functions depending on the user input. So we're going to fetch the data, run through the simulations, and return the paths. And lastly, we have code to return the plots. So again, we're using iCharts to make these interactive. And all of this is just pretty much formatting. We're going to pass in our data for today only. We do some time offsets to make sure we're using New York time, since it appears that every time I use iCharts for intraday stuff, it always defaults to the UTC time zone. And so we plot the data and we add the styles and the colors as well. We're going to add the full day's worth of data along with the simulated paths. And as you saw, we also added a vertical line of when the simulation started, which will be the yellow vertical line on the chart. Once we have everything coded, we can just go ahead and return the plot. And then once you have coded everything, we can then go ahead and pass in our UI and server to start the app. So that's pretty much all you have to do to get this app to work. And with that, guys, this concludes the video. I hope this was useful information. I'll leave a link down in the description area to my Patreon where you can find this script. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.